Hello. So in my previous video I discussed concentration techniques so that we could sort of develop a deeper focus when we start exercising the insight techniques. I am going to go into a three-part series on deconstructing the sense of self, which is basically dividing our internal experience up into three different parts: the emotional body, mental chatter, and visual thought. And so we're going to divide these up and work with each sensory location individually to better understand and have a deeper experience with each sensory location. And today I'm going to go over feel in, by the way, which is emotional body sensations. And spending time with our emotional body has many beneficial factors. For one, it really aids in sort of surrendering to the negative emotions when we start spending more time in our emotional body. And it's important to realize that the negative emotions aren't the problem. It's our resistance to them. Because if we were able to fully open up to them, they would just pass through, and it's the resistance that causes the suffering, not the pain. So yeah, spending time with those negative emotions really aids in the surrendering and finding equanimity or a sense of acceptance with them. And also when it comes to the positive, spending time in our emotional body allows us to sort of have that awareness spill over into our world outside of meditation. So you'll be more aware of the internal body and be able to fully soak into it more when you're just out about doing your thing in daily life. And so yeah, some examples of emotional body sensations. I have a lot in my chest, so I spend primarily the amount of time in my chest. But you know, when you get tense, your shoulders lift up, and so allowing the shoulders to drop. So that can be a symbol for, or a sign, not a symbol, for sort of what emotional state you're in. The face, like if your eyes are tense, your muscles are tense, just sort of let them relax. And there's a lot of emotions that are stored in our face as well. And so really just going in with our awareness and spending time in what it physically feels like there. Not necessarily only physically, but really soaking into the emotional qualities that are there. And it's really difficult at first. They're very subtle, and it takes time with, exploring the emotional body to really develop that palate to sensorially taste the emotional sensations. Other examples I like to use are, a girl or guy you have feelings for comes up in your head, and it triggers an emotional sensation of butterflies in your stomach. That expansive, misty, just that feeling, that glow. And say you have that feeling, or a feeling similar, what you'd want to do is go in and let go of the idea, let go of the mental chatter or the daydream about the sensation, and go into what it sensorially feels like. Really explore it and soak into it with as much awareness as possible. Explore the edges. What are the qualities of the edges? Is it a gradual fade where it slowly fades out so you can't even tell where it starts to exist and doesn't exist? Or is it a very clear ending, like it's just solid, a very solid sensation? Is it undulating, vibrating, moving, shifting? Is it increasing in intensity, decreasing in intensity? Really just explore the whole makeup. And your mind's gonna wander. It always does. And so when it does wander, just bring it back to what it sensorially feels like. I've been meditating for a few years now and doing this technique. This was like the second technique I ever learned. And I still wander into like daydreams and mental chatter about whatever I'm feeling. So just continually come back and yeah, sensorially explore all of it. Try not to push anything away or hold on to anything. So say you have a real positive feeling, and it starts fading away, don't try and cling on and get it to stay. Just watch what is. And over time, it'll be a lot easier to just deal with whatever is, good or bad. And so say you don't feel a lot of emotion in that moment, and you want to work with this technique, you want to spend time in the emotional body. It's okay if there isn't much going on. Just start to explore the different, where you feel your emotions do arise. That lack of emotion can be known as feel rest, and even though it is not a physical emotional sensation, it is an emotional quality. It's a restful quality, and you can still meditate on the absence of emotion. So what does that peace, restful state feel like? And if you start exploring and you don't really feel like a sense of peace, but you don't feel any emotions, really start to look out for the subtle, very subtle emotions. And it's also important to note that emotions sort of have like this formless flavor. Like, it's not just confined to tight muscles in the face, or your throat tightening up, or that your chest being tight. I just described anxiety for me, by the way, but it's more of sort of this formless movement, or it's almost like a flavor instead of a physical solid sensation, even though it is not limited to just a formless quality or flavor. It can also be like anxiety for me sometimes feel like a tight ball. Like, I remember when I broke up with my girlfriend, it was just like this giant empty contracting black hole in my chest. It was a very solid sensation. Yeah, this has been one of the most transformative techniques in all of my meditation. So I hope this has helped illustrate to you one of the insight techniques of Vipassana. This technique is specifically from Shinzen Young and is known as feel-in. I'll be going into hear-in, which is mental chatter, and see-in in previous videos. If you have any questions, let me know. Peace.